January was my first full month because I was in training for half of December. My first full month with 1cc in January, I closed like 280 grand.
Woo!
Yeah.
280,000.
Yeah. It was like 283 something, I think. Something like I was almost 300,000.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Closers Network podcast, the only podcast and community that you want to be a part of, only if you're looking to add an extra $10,000 to $30,000 per month to your commissions as a remote high-ticket closer, guys. In fact, we have a free community that you can join. Click the second link in the description below, and we'll give you all the free resources to be able to get started. I'm Mike Sadikian, your host of the Closers Network podcast, and not just your host, guys. I'm also a coach in the Closers Network. And so if you're interested to have a chat with us, you can click the links below and get in touch. Guys, today's guest, I am super excited to introduce. He flew all the way here from Canada to make this happen. And this is a special episode because I hear a lot about this individual within our sales agency from all sorts of different people. So today's guest, guys, is a very extraordinary one whose journey has been nothing short of highs and lows, and has been nothing short of also inspiring. From selling suits at 19 to becoming a powerhouse in the e-commerce space, he's proven that with determination and resilience, anything is possible. Starting his sales career selling suits, he quickly outperformed veterans with decades of experience. But what happened is, guys, his life took a turn when he became a DJ, right? That led to a period of addiction and recovery. Rising from the ashes, he rebuilt himself by mastering social media and mastering managing 42 clients at once, and then taking a bold leap of faith into high-ticket sales. Joining One Call Closers with the leadership of Richard Mugica, he skyrocketed his success, and in his first month of joining our sales agency, One Call Closers, he was able to produce $40,000 in his first month in sales commissions. But hey, the story doesn't stop there. Our guest today is not only a sales champion and passionate about psychology and spirituality, he's also been able to draw wisdom from people like Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud. And that's really helped him fuel his success. So guys, get ready for some incredible stories, some valuable insights, and help me welcome none other than Alexander Labombard. Welcome to the show, Alex.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
You had an early start in sales. 19 years old,
yeah,
slanging some suits.
I did. Slinging suits, man.
Slanging suits, bro.
Slinging suits.
Tell me a little bit about how that journey started. What made you even want to do that? And just how it's maybe shaped your sales approach starting out.
Yeah, I mean, winding back a little before that, I was in a really serious relationship with a woman, and I was a restaurant kitchen manager at a local place. It was a pretty well-known upper middle class place. And I just kind of got sick and tired of, the monotony of 9 to 5 working. And in my case, in a kitchen, you're talking like, 8 in the morning until 7 o'clock at night, through that period of time, I ended up losing my grandmother to cancer very rapidly. And then I ended up losing my girlfriend at the time. We were living together. We'd been together for a while. And it was just time for a change. So I was like, I'm going to toss an application in at this local clothing store. I'm going to see what happens. And I didn't really know much about sales. I mean, I knew I was good with people and I'm personable, but I ended up getting hired. And in my first month there, I was top performer. Yeah, I was top performer in sales commission. Now, I mean, when you're selling suits on a 10% commission, you're not making nearly as much as you are in this space. But at 19, 20 years old, when you're making around $4,000 to $5,000 Canadian, by the way. Okay, we're not talking US change. That's pretty significant for somebody, 19, 20 years old.
Was there any training? How did you become the number one? Like, was there any type of training they gave? What did you do? Anything different? Did you see anything online?
There was like an orientation, like you know what I mean? And like I did that, and then I've always been the type that's very good at like, especially in sales, you tell me how to do it, you give me the syntax, and I'll do it. Like, okay. I think I mentioned to you earlier, I'm a robot when it comes to this kind of thing. So yeah, I just walked in and I just did my thing, and it worked. It worked really well. On a Saturday, if I came in and there was a commission bump on shoes, it was like, okay, I'm selling 20 pairs of shoes today. And I'm pairing shoes up with every suit. Like I was very good at that. Was it just rapport building and having fun, just asking for the sale, or like, persuading them? Like, what? I'm a deal guy.
Okay.
I'm a deal guy. Like,
what sparked that when you say you're a deal guy? Is that something maybe from younger, Or is it something you feel like you just always had? Do you know where it stems from?
I think bargaining is hereditary in my family, honestly. I've always been, I love bargaining. You know, I love getting in there and like, especially on a lot of the calls I take now.
Yeah.
I love getting in front of people and they're like, that's too much money. And it's like, well, what if I could help you out? Like, I love that car sales vibe. And actually, you know, we'll probably get into it later, but I ended up going the car sales route for a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like that back and forth. Like, you know, I just like that.
Okay.
I really enjoy that atmosphere. So
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So you transitioned from that into, I think car sales was next.
Yeah. So car sales didn't go great for me because I got into car sales at about the time I started heavily using cocaine.
Okay.
So while I was actually working at the suit store, that's how I met my first drug dealer.
Okay.
He was an employee there also, and we ended up partying together. I started DJing, like you had mentioned, and I was offered a job. But the guy that offered me a job as a car salesman actually came in and bought his suits from me. He was the owner of the dealership, and yeah, we ended up. You know, he became a regular of mine. He would always come and buy his clothes, and then he hired me, and that's one of those opportunities, and that's a really good lesson for me, is like how quickly not being sober can throw things down the toilet. I lasted about 4 months in the car sales industry, and it's just I just didn't show up how I should have. You know, I just didn't. You know, I wasn't there on weekends. You know, I had a very hard time committing to things because drugs ruled my life at that point. So
yeah, I got you, man. Transitioning from sales to becoming a DJ, it seems like, you know, you face some significant challenges. How did your time as a DJ and your battle with addiction influence maybe your perspective in sales today?
I take a very, like, I don't regret anything. That's where a lot of people, you know, you come into recovery and you see all these people, they sit at the AA tables, or they you know, they go to the meetings and they are just mustering in all of this shame and this guilt right from the past. I don't do that crap. Okay. Like I look at the addiction that I've had and the problems I have as a gift, because I can take that energy and I have the choice to put it towards something else, right? I don't have to fall back on the bottle or the bag. I don't have to. I choose to, right? So when you start to realize it's a choice and that you can use that addictive energy to excel your financial gain, or you can use it to dig a deeper hole and keep going down the pit of misery and shame and self-guilt and all that fun stuff like I did for a long time, you really start to realize how powerful of a human being you are and how much power you actually have to change your life, right? I, unfortunately, for a very long time, just chose not to, right? DJing and the party scene and that whole side of things, you know, being well known in the downtown core of my hometown and, you know, being that guy is something I strove for a very long time. I always wanted to be noticed and all that. And it's something I got from that scene. And unfortunately, I just thought the only way to be that guy was no one's ever going to like me if I don't party and do drugs.
Yeah.
So I had to escape that. So that's kind of.
Sounds like it started with a decision.
Yeah, it all does. All of it. Even when I chose to get sober, it all starts with the decision. And you see a lot of these guys, they'll count. Right? They'll count like, oh, I've been sober for this long. No, one day at a time, man. 24 hours. That's all I care about. You know, if I'm sober today, tomorrow will take care of itself. Yesterday will take care of itself. That's all that matters. I don't do any of that counting stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's what I always tell people, especially in the agency, you're coaching students and stuff. And Mike, how can I do this? Mike, how can I do that? Guys, it starts with just making the decision. Deciding and committing to it, right? Not necessarily staying interested in that decision, but staying committed, right, to that decision. So I think there's a lot of power in that. Dude, managing 42 clients at once, that sounds intense.
Yeah.
Do you have any strategies you learned from that to stay maybe organized or deliver results for yourself that has translated into you as a high ticket closer today?
Yeah, I mean, organization's key. When I got into the e-commerce space and I was with the company I was with, initially in the high ticket space, I wasn't in sales. I was on the marketing side, right? I was doing all the Facebook ads, Instagram ads, managing funnels, organizing campaigns, that kind of thing. And I knew nothing about it because I had just come out of a rehab and I was just looking for something new, right? It was in the heat of COVID too. So it's not like I could go get a job.
Yeah.
So I had got connected with this guy that I had went to college with for a brief amount of time, and he was doing e-commerce stuff. He was doing like build a store type, we'll build it, we'll manage it type stuff. And I got involved, and clients just started piling on. Just like at first it was 5, and then 3 months later, it was like 41, 42. And the reason for that is because I got paid per client, right? I got paid a stipend. So I wanted to have as many as I could, right? So, I mean, scheduling out my day, man, super important. I made sure I knew what ads had to go live at what time, and I made sure I made time for that. But like, honestly, it was super easy. It wasn't hard because when you enjoy doing something,
right,
it's not difficult. The reason we all hate 9-to-5 jobs is because we hate doing it, unfortunately. You know what I mean? It sucks to have to drive in to a brick and mortar store every day and know that you're selling your soul for, pardon my language, but a bullshit amount of money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially in Canada, the cost of living is so high right now. Like, minimum wage workers are not making ends meet. They're not. They're struggling.
Same here.
So,
yeah. Same here, dude. That's crazy. That's crazy. So one of the things you shared was a pivotal moment where you persuaded a client to stay and you upsold them. You had them pay more for a better service as opposed to refunding. What was your approach in that conversation, and what can you maybe share with someone that can apply that same logic into high ticket?
Yeah, so that's a funny story, that one, actually, because I started dealing, so the company I was with for e-commerce, I started dealing with customer service stuff because we had started, obviously there's complaints. Or nobody's perfect. You're right. We're not going to act like everything was sunshine and rainbows all the time. So I had to get in front of this guy on Zoom, and this is kind of where the sales started. He wanted a refund on like a $4,000 service. He was not happy, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, well, we'll just call him John. I was like, well, John, like the reason that this is all happening is because this, and this. And, you weren't really listening to what the team said. And we had recommended doing this at this time, and you said no. So why don't we upgrade you to the elite package we had at the time? We'll upgrade you to that one. We'll throw in, X amount of time management for free, and then we'll see where it goes. And dude, he's like, take my card. He gave me, gave me another $4,000 that day.
Wow.
So after that happened, the guy that was my manager, he was like, you ever thought about sales? And I was like, no, actually, why don't we give it a go? To answer your latter question, anything I recommend in terms of recovery, because I know it's something salespeople deal with a lot, especially on an offer, a lot of the offers that, like, especially at 1cc that are going on. A lot of those offers, people get buyer's remorse on high ticket items, right? It's not like they went to the grocery store and bought a watermelon.
Sure.
Like you know what I mean? Like
100%.
So you have to approach those situations with a form of understanding, and you almost have to put yourself in their shoes, right? How would you feel if you just spent $4,000 and didn't feel completely committed to something?
Yeah.
Right. So I whenever I deal with somebody that wants to drop out of something, wants their money back, refunds, I always make sure I'm not calling or texting. I'm getting face-to-face Google Meet. Like if I'm using the phone, man, it's to schedule a Google meeting to get face-to-face. Because it's a lot harder to say no to somebody's face than it is through a text message. And B, you have a lot higher of a chance mitigating issues when they see that you're going to take the time and care about not only their investment, but what their goals are in the long term, right? I'm very good also about like just keeping my door open, right? If someone's just having a bad day, for example, on the V-Shred offer, right? If someone's just having a bad day, they have my calendar link. Schedule 30 minutes with me and talk about it, man. Like talk it out with me. I don't want to see you give up, So customer service goes a long way, very long way. And even going back to suits, you know what I mean? Taking the time like with the people to make sure they have the best fit, right? Make sure that everything is done to perfection. Make sure, all the hems are pinned properly and that they know that they're going to look like $1 million when they walk out, right? That's the kind of stuff that disarms refunds, recovery, and really saves you a lot of time that you could be focusing on follow-up. So you really have to take a hands-on customer service approach. You can't just pawn people off after the sale. It's just not going to work for you.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. And I need to unpack, because you said three things I want to unpack there. Number one, for you guys listening, guys, when he got on the phone with his customer that had spent $4,000 to upsell him another $4,000, the person didn't have the value that they needed with the $4,000 package, and that wasn't going to solve their problem, is kind of what I'm hearing Alex say, right? So he had to actually, to solve their problem, provide more value. The way to provide more value in that scenario was to get them actually what they need to solve the problem. Number two, I've been waiting for this one to come up, and I can't believe I haven't brought it up this entire time. One of the things, Rich and myself, when we got started at Fit Body Bootcamp selling franchises, one of the biggest lessons that we learned, the worst thing you can do in sales if someone's looking for a refund, guys, is starting to initiate conversation over a text or email. The absolute worst thing you can do, you're not going to be able to save it. You're going to end up losing it. That person's just going to have an out. And all you're going to do is, hey, man, I just want a refund. I'm not looking to chat. It's going to start with the text. You're going to go back and forth. The end of the chat is going to be, hey, I'm just looking for a refund. I'm not looking to get back on the phone. As opposed to if the first instinct and initial thing you do is like, hey, man, let's talk about this. Let's jump on a call, right? Or in this case, a Zoom or a Google Meet. Let's have the face-to-face conversation. That's going to be so much more powerful than you just texting someone, right? I know it's uncomfortable. I know you probably don't want to freaking get on that phone call or have the face-to-face conversation, right? Because it's the easier thing to do is just to text them. But dude, that's not how you're going to impact and change their life. And that's not how you're going to impact and change your life, right? So that's not going to be a win-win-win for anyone. And then the last thing that I said, that you said that really resonated with me, because it's something that I do every time I close, is I make myself available, right? To the people that I sold to, right? Even though, let's just say I'm on V-Shred, hypothetically speaking, and I don't know a dang thing about fitness, I will close that person and let them know, dude, like they still have access to me. They can reach out to me. They can call me anytime. And I make myself available. What I realized in doing that over time is like I actually had the least refunds out of anybody on the team. And I thought there's just some impact. There's a lot of wisdom and power in what you just said. I'd highly recommend listening back to Alex's segment there, because I think that right there is super powerful.
Yeah, even on Monday, I had a lady I dealt with that came into V-Shred, and she went through whatever, and she reached out to me on Tuesday morning. She was like, Alex, I really think I made a mistake. Immediately, phone, right away. Like as soon as I see that email come through, I'm not 5 minutes out. I don't let people muster in their shit at all, ever. Like I'm 5 minutes, like, I have a meeting in 20. Like, okay, I'm going to take the next 15 with you. Screw my break. Screw my lunch. Like, I don't need that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, lunch is important. You got to eat and whatever. But no, I'm, the stuff that fires me up is getting on the phone and helping people. So like I was on the phone with her. Why do you think you made a mistake? Well, I just don't think it's something I can be committed to, blah, 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 blah. Is anything going to change if you don't at least try to commit to something? Yeah. Well, no, not really. You're right. Okay, then this is what we're going to do. I'm going to follow up with you every 14 days that you go through this. Every 14 days, every 2 weeks, you're going to hear from me on top of the person you're working with, just so I can make sure you're getting results. I actually really appreciate that. I think that makes me a little more comfortable. Oh, okay. So all I had to do was offer time. It cost me nothing. It cost me 20 minutes of my day to keep some commission in my pocket. Instead of, reaching out and going, oh yeah, please reach out to support for these inquiries. It's like, what are you doing? I want to rip my hair out when I see people do that. You know what I mean?
100%, 100%, dude. And people do it all the time in sales. It's crazy. And that's super powerful stuff. Sounds like you had, your faith and spiritual journey in 2023 played a significant role in your life. How did this experience or any of these experiences like affect your sales career or your personal development?
So spirituality, that's an interesting topic. Because I took a leave, obviously, in 2023. I had a lot going on last year, and I had, although it was a great start to the year, like January through March, or I think even it might have been January through April. I was with 1cc last year on the V-Shred offer, and I was doing really well. Like, you know what I mean? Numbers were good, but I wasn't mentally there. Like I was burnt. I was scheduling myself 8:30 in the morning until 11 o'clock at night, Monday through Sunday. That's what I did. Like, jeez. I sat at that computer. Like, I didn't take lunch breaks. Like, I'm talking back to back, no spaces in the calendar. So I had to step back, and because I knew that there was parts of my life missing. And thankfully through that year, I was able to find out a lot about myself and what my beliefs are during and after life, and what things look like, and why, even just why human beings, and why we are the way we are, why we think the way we think, and
Sure.
a lot of that, like, so I'm going back to school in September for psychology. I'm doing an honors undergrad. So yeah, like that's played a really significant role in just my approach to people too. Helps me step out, right? Because sometimes, and I know it's not a fan favorite comment of mine, but I'm a huge preacher of take time off. Like I am, and not a lot of salespeople, and in that you see like the big influencers too out there, like they are not a fan of that. Like they are the grind type. It's like, no, man, if I need 4 days, 5 days to step back, readjust, then dude, if that 5 days is gonna pay me for the next 3 months, so be it. The leaderboards too, people get caught up in that stuff. I was somebody that got caught up in the leaderboards a lot of the time.
It's hard not to.
It is hard not to, because you want to see your name number one. It's our competitive nature as salespeople.
And some way also, I feel like your identity somehow gets attached to this number or the spot, whatever. I don't know why, but
it does. There's a lot of pressure, right? There's a lot of pressure on that top 10 spot. But at the end of the day, if I just do my job properly, right, I get people across the line. I'm changing, help change people's lives. And there's people, I'm pulling the numbers, and I meet my numbers that I need to be meeting. Spirituality in that side of things has really helped me understand that there's more to life. Enjoy the fruits of your labor. You know what I mean? What's a $30,000 to $40,000 commission check every month if all you do is sit at home and you can't use any of it?
Yeah.
You can buy all the houses, cars, whatever does it for you. You can buy all that stuff all you want. It's not, you're still going to be sitting in front of that computer, lonely, miserable, and unhappy, and it's just not going to go anywhere good.
Yeah.
So
I was going to ask you, well, Alex, like, how do you not get burnt? And I think you just answered it, man. He's like, hey, take some time off, right? Get some self-reflection, right? And take a moment, right? One of my mentors always told me, like, if you're in that space, he always take me, dude, take a day, but not really more than 2, right? But I hear what you're saying. You might need 5 days, whatever. And there's no right or wrong in how to do it. I'm just saying that saying or that phrase that he said just kind of stuck with me. And they're like, I'm like, yeah, dude. In fact, I had a coaching call with a student today, and I was like, hey, sounds like you're probably in a position right now where it makes sense to maybe take a day off, but not more than 2, right? And just take a step back, right? Because it's so easy to get caught up in that moment, like with the numbers, the leaderboards, and you're so ingrained in this moment in time where there's maybe like tunnel vision happening. And if you take that step back, it kind of opens up and shows you the wider picture. And it's like, dude, like what? Yeah. Okay, I get it now. This makes sense. This is what it clicks, right? And I think that's what I hear you saying.
Yeah, well, and when you go tunnel vision, like, dude, that's dangerous, because now you're getting on the call or the meeting or however you're doing your sales thing, and your objective is, I need the close.
That's right.
Because this goes toward, this is make or break for my numbers. This is make or break for my numbers. And what the person on the other end needs goes out the window. Goes out the window. It totally goes out the window. And it's like, now you're there and you're running through a script to fulfill your agenda. And it's like, well, the likelihood of somebody picking up on that, because I like to think instinctually we're pretty smart creatures. The likelihood of somebody picking up on your energy and your vibe and how you are across the board with them, yeah, it's not really going to play in your favor if you're running off of I need this sale agenda.
Yeah, dude, energy and vibe, that's it right there. And like I had another student yesterday I was having a conversation with, and he's like, dude, I feel like I'm doing everything right. Like I feel like this is a perfect call. And I was like, I had to share a story with him. I'm like, dude, I've been where you're at, where I thought if I gave a scorecard to my last 5 calls I had, I was like, I'd give myself like a 9.9, you know?
Yeah.
And then one day I had Richard look at my calls. And I was like, hey, bro, like I feel like I'm doing everything correctly, like the science piece, right? And so he looked at the call. He's like, dude, have you seen like your energy and your vibe on the call? And I was going through some personal stuff in that moment in time. And he's like, dude, you don't have that Mikey that's usually there. That guy's not on that call right now. you have your framework dialed in, like you have the science piece so dialed in. You think like I have it because the science is dialed in. You're missing the art, brother. You're missing the art. And that's like part of the energy and the vibe that usually I have. So it clicked, dude. And I was like, I had that aha moment. And I love what you just said because there's something so powerful about the energy and the vibe, man.
Yeah. And like, that's the other thing too. I notice a lot of people, because obviously I get a lot of DMs every day. Yeah. How can I be better?
He's the most popular guy on the team right here, if you didn't know.
No, but it's not about popularity. It's just, obviously, when people come in, they're going to look at the leaderboard and they're going to reach out to those significant few that are at the top consistently, right? It's just, that's what I would do. You know what I mean? So I always get like, what could I be saying differently? Or like, how could I be pitching this differently? Or what am I doing wrong? Or can you watch this call? And like, I review a lot of calls too. And like people, and like the thing across the board I noticed that's the biggest issue with most people is they're not being themselves.
Yeah.
They're Frankensteining this shit that they hear from like 9 different top performers. And they think that like this machined robotic pitch is going to do it for them. And it's like, no, man, like let your shoulders down, relax, have a conversation, pretend like you're having lunch with a friend. Like, you know what I mean? Put yourself in a, I've known you for 15 years mood. And like, hey, look, I would want this for somebody that I've known for a long time and care about. So this is what I want for you. You know what I mean? So yeah, you just kind of gotta ease up, man. You gotta care more about the person and what that looks like. Not so much about your agenda.
That's right. It's not about you.
No, God, no. When you take a selfish approach to sales, you're gonna fail every day of the week.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons he gets so many people reaching out to him is because what he's not telling you that I am is this guy. So there's a few tiers of leads on this particular offer that he's closing on, guys. So there's tier 1, there's tier 2, there's tier 3, right? Tier 1 is kind of the better financially qualified. Tier 2 is the second best. Tier 3 is maybe not the so best financially qualified, which a lot of closers could have some beliefs around, right? Oh, this person doesn't have money. Oh, these leads are bad. Oh, this, oh, that. The most excited part of this conversation I'm looking to dive into today is how the heck does one take these T3 leads that are, Alex, not financially qualified, right? They're not good leads, Alex, and turn them and do over 100,000 of sales consistently every single month with them. How the heck, walk me through what that's like and how do you do that? That's like magic to me.
So this is actually really interesting. So when I got back in March from my leave, Ian was straightforward with me. And he said, I'm going to start you on 3 and 2. Right. Because a lot changed, right? Like everything changed from when I got, like even Vishat had different like programs, like everything was different. So I had a little bit of I'd say like a 7 to 8 day learning curve to go through. And it was rough for a little bit, but that's outside the fact. After I kind of got in the swing of it, I did 124 for the company on T3. And you know what? You have to adjust. It is different because when I got put on the T1, it was different. And I had a rocky start to that also because they are financially qualified and they understand that they're coming into the call and they're probably going to be pitched on.
Yeah. It's a different person, sort of.
Different vibe. And with the T1, yeah, most people will say, well, like they are looking for coaching. Nobody's looking for coaching, man. Nobody wants to be told what to do. You have to convince them why they need to be told what to do. Like, dude, like, no, but like, I don't want to be told what to do. That's human nature. We're selfish, stubborn beings. Like we are, like by nature. So, that's why sales is so intriguing because the fact that we have the power to convince somebody to do something and break that psychological barrier is very interesting. So, yeah, I mean, on the T3, T2, my framework was a lot different. I took a lot more of a monthly payment approach to things.
Yeah.
When someone's not expecting to spend $2,000, $4,000, $6,000, $8,000 on something, telling them that, let's do it monthly, path of least resistance kind of thing. And I know that's not a popular opinion with people either.
Yeah.
But it gets them across the line. And I know just because I know the product, I know in 30 days they're going to like it. I just know that. And anybody that has done it that hasn't reached out to cancel due to buyer's remorse within the first 3 days is still doing it.
Wow.
So, I mean, however I need to chalk it up, to make it sound appealing and doable to somebody, I will. That's my job as a salesperson. Play with the words, right? I'm a word guru. I'm a language guru. You have to be, right? You have to tell people what is going to make sense to them. Because although it might make sense to you as a salesperson for somebody that needs to lose 100 pounds to spend the next year on themselves, that's not going to make sense to them because that's not what they see.
Yeah. Persuasion, man.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I'm a huge proponent and just, helping people get the clarity and helping them get out of their own way. Because most of the time, if it's not, money's like not the issue, as in they're not able to qualify. They don't have the credit. They don't have a credit card or debit card. If it's not related to a money issue like that, most of the time what I found is it's usually a fear. It's either a fear of spending the money, right? Because they've never spent this kind of money, or it's the fear of, I just don't know if I'm going to do the work or get the result, right? So it's like usually one of those two things. And to your point, it's like, dude, I'm there to help them get out of their own way. I'm helping them to convince them, right? Persuade them. And so I love that.
Yeah, and I've had people that I've done the pitch, I've done the presentation to, and we've kind of had really good conversation. And they've been honest with me. I don't think it's something I could commit fully to. And in return, I'm honest with them. Like, if you're not going to commit to yourself, then don't do this. Like, if you can't commit the time to at least even just listen to a professional and listen to what they have to say and follow somebody that knows what they're talking about, don't waste your time because you're just going to end up in a financial situation. You know what I mean? That you can't get out of. So sometimes it's better to cut your losses too, right?
Yeah.
Than deal with the crap.
100%, dude. 100. I love selling with honesty, tough love, right?
Yeah.
And sounds like you're super convicted in being honest, right? And that conviction, because you can have a raw conversation, right? And it's like people feel that. Again, back to the feeling, right? It's not what you're gonna say, it's how you're gonna make them feel. So if they see, dude, this guy is so convicted and he's being honest with me. Most sales reps don't want to just have that conversation because they think it's gonna be uncomfortable. It's like, dude, they appreciate that a lot more than you believe. They actually want that.
Yeah.
And so most closers, I don't think that it clicks for them. They don't really understand that.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of power in that.
Yeah, that's why I pitch options. A lot of people will, and again, not a popular opinion, but if someone is looking to lose 15 pounds, say on a V-Shred offer, why am I pitching them 12 months?
Yeah.
They know they don't need that shit. Like, I'm not here to heckle people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do 90 days.
Yeah.
You'll be able to come in, lose the weight. You seem pretty disciplined. Maybe you just need a change. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like that kind of thing. It's like why am I going to sit here and pretend that somebody's worse off than they are?
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's a great perspective.
And people like that a lot more, especially when I pitch options. It's like, well, you got 3, 6, 12. I would recommend, based on my professional opinion, again, been with V-Shred for X amount of time. This is generally what I see. I'd go with 3 to 6. And then kind of in their mind, they're like, oh, he's not out to get me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not, because if he was, he would just say, oh, I need like a year and it's going to be X amount of money. No, I'm not in it for that. I want people to come in, accomplish their goals and get to where they need to be.
That's freaking awesome, man. That's freaking awesome. So you go in selling suits, you become top of the leaderboard your first month. You come over to One Call Closers, you're top of the leader the first month, doing $40,000 in commissions.
Yeah. Yeah, my first month with 1CC back in November of 22. No, December. It would have been January. January was my first full month because I was in training for half of December. My first full month with 1CC in January, I closed like 280 grand.
Woo!
Yeah.
280.
Yeah. It was like 283 something, I think. Something like I was almost 300,000. And I, at that time, before Miss Mistruzzi came along, she said,
shots fired,
she
baby.
tends to be a hot topic. Don't worry, I'm coming for you, girl. Wait till I'm working Saturdays again. So when I used to be in her spot, and I was 20,000 off beating Mr. Holden's record. My first month, I was almost there. Unfortunately, I didn't.
The Golden Holden.
Yeah, he's got energy, man. I like that guy. I've watched a lot of his calls. He's good too. He's good. I love that guy. Yeah. George
was like, oh man, it's a different style. I can't call someone Beyonce on a call.
It is. He just has a touch, man. He has a unique thing he does, and it works for him. And you know what the beauty is? Nobody can copy it.
Yeah, he's having so much fun. It's just him. It's just, you know, he's found, like, to your earlier point, is like people just need to find themselves and who they are. That's what Keith is. He's just being himself, dude. He's as real as raw as he could be. You know, he's just him.
Yeah, I remember the first call I ever watched of his. He was on with a woman, and he was like, "We're gonna get that body toned up and tightened." And I was like, "I could never do that."
Oh, that's awesome, man. But he has fun. He's having a good time, you know?
Yeah, he's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. You're a big fan of psychology, and it sounds like you leverage a lot of that in your sales approach. Can you share some psychological principles or tactics that have been particularly effective for you?
There's a really good book, back to your point on persuasion. It's called The Art of Persuasion by Bob Burg.
That's right.
That's a really good one. There's another one. It's called Start With Why. I forget who it's by. I'm totally drawing a blank, but it is a very good book, and I have read it twice. A lot of my inspiration lately has come from Dr. Jordan Peterson. Now, he's not somebody that's unfamiliar to the internet. Of course. You see him everywhere.
Yep.
But I think mentally, right now, the world itself is in a state of turmoil. Addiction rates are higher than they've ever been. Homelessness. I know in the city of Toronto, right, 3 hours north of where I'm from, I've heard just being around the area, Los Angeles is out of control. There's so much confusion. People have lost their path. People have lost their purpose.
That's right.
And I think Jordan Peterson has made probably the best knowledgeable case towards why that is. And that's because people have lost sight of who they could be. Right. And I think I deal with that. And I've taken that principle and I deal with that on the calls very, very frequently. People gain weight and they emotionally eat and they eat out of boredom. And that's directly because they're unhappy a lot of the time. Right. I deal with a lot of people that have gone through grief. You know, they go through like intense surgeries, COVID. I hear COVID all the time still 2 years later. You know what I mean? People are still not over it. That whole thing, that whole mental side of things has thrown people for a loop in terms of who they are, what they're supposed to be doing, and what their purpose is on this earth. And I think that has a direct tie with gaining weight, honestly. You know, why treat myself like something worth treating? Actually, in the 12 Rules of Life, Jordan Peterson's first book, he has a chapter called why do we give our pets our medication before ourselves? I believe it's something like that. Or why do we treat our animals better than we treat ourselves, or something along those lines. And his whole point in that is if you are willing to give your dog medication to make sure it stays alive and you won't even take your own, that says a lot about where you're at. And you should look at that.
Powerful.
It's very powerful because it's true. Not a lot of people nowadays are taking their meds. They're not getting into the gym. I'm not the best advocate for that either because I'm a foodie, but but they're not living a healthy life, right? They're not reading. They're not getting into themselves. They're not exploring, right? We're adventurous creatures, man. Like we're from the age of 3. We want to explore. We want to get out. And we want to touch things, and we want to look at stuff, and we want to eat worms for the first time and see if they taste good. We like to adventure. That's our nature. And I think a lot of people in life have lost the sense of adventure. They've lost the journey. It's now it's a program. It's a day-to-day. It's a monotony. It's like, and what do they do to escape that? They eat, they drink, they live in the moment, they do drugs, anything to escape the monotony of not understanding who they are.
That is profound. That is profound, man. Jeez.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, I think what V-Shred and Vince are doing and what they're doing with that is helping people. I think, because I've seen fitness for a lot of recovering addicts I've been around. That's an outlet.
Yes,
it's a direct outlet. I know a guy that I went through rehabilitation with. He's starting a gym for recovering addicts. He's actually giving recovering addicts free memberships to this gym. So, that's an outlet, and I think it can be an outlet for a plethora of different things. It doesn't necessarily just have to be, recovering addicts. It could be, people going through grief, mourning, trauma, that kind of stuff, right? So, yeah, I think it's important.
Yeah,
I think knowing your direction is important.
for sure. I don't know what kind of worms you guys got in Canada, but I don't think I've ever had the urge to eat a worm here.
I think we've all tried it when we were young, man. I mean, unless I'm just that weird kid that
I'm like, what, do I remember ever trying to bite into a worm, bro? I'm like, that's awesome.
It's the first thing that came to my mind.
That's so funny, dude. The one thing I didn't touch on that if we can go back, we're gonna go back just a second. But what would you tell someone who's maybe starting off on the V-Shred offer that's getting the T3 leads that are, the least financially qualified? Like, what would you tell someone that thinks like the leads aren't good because they're T3? Like, is there any advice you'd give that person? I think you touched on some of it, but is there anything you want to maybe add to that you feel like could really help someone that's starting on this account to get the right mindset around
Yeah,
this?
of course the leads are bad. You think they are.
That's right.
Think they're good and they'll be good. I don't look at the income qualification on that sheet.
I don't either, dude. I don't look at income ever because people lie. People lie all the time. The people with money always write they don't have money. The people sometimes that don't have money say that they have money, and both could be true, right?
Yeah.
People are just going to be people.
So this is a cool one. So I had a guy last year, second month in V-Shred. He owned 3 or 4 hospitals in Texas.
Oof.
He had a lot of cash. Guess what his form said?
I don't know, 2,000 to 4,000.
Less than 2,000.
He doesn't want to get sold.
No, people don't want to get sold.
Yeah.
They want to get helped.
That's right.
So, and I lie on it. If I ever go through like quizzes online for because if you look at, I do a lot of sales programs. I'm always self-improvement. I'm big onto that. So, they'll ask you the question before you get on the rep. And I'm kind of that asshole that when I get on, I'm like, hey, look, dude, I know what you're trying to do. Just tell me how much the program is. Save it. I've gotten better and I kind of let them do their pitch because I realize the value in that is it helps them get better too. Right. So, okay, I'll listen to it even though I know what you're doing. But if you think the leads are bad, or like if you look at a form and you're like less than 2K, I can't believe I got this.
Yeah.
Then you're probably not going to close the deal, man. Like you've put yourself in a frame of mind that is just going to kill you.
That's right.
It's
The leads are weak.
The leads are not weak. V-Shred, that's one thing. V-Shred does not have weak leads in any of the tiers.
Beautiful.
I've sold 8Ks on T3 and I've lost deals on high income T1s.
Amazing.
Like there's no it's all your energy and how you go into it, man.
That's right.
It's all about that. So
so powerful. Thank you for that, dude. I hope you guys take something away from that because I know you're going to be listening to it if you're on that offer right now. Especially seeing that Alex is a guest today. A couple more questions, a couple fun questions, and we'll call it a wrap. Reflecting on your financial journey, right? You made some great money.
Yeah.
You mentioned you made some past mistakes with spending money on material things. What financial advice would you give a salesperson that's starting out to see success? Or is there anything you'd maybe want to share that be impactful or helpful?
When I got into sales and I started making a lot of money, it was just before I entered recovery also. So, I was still doing my thing as a DJ when I was selling suits and when I was doing cars.
Yeah.
And I made good money, but bottle service, cocaine,
An expensive lifestyle.
Oh, dude. Like, I think one year for my birthday in Toronto, we spent $16,500.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, on bottle service, drugs, and prostitutes.
Jeez,
Like, that's the kind of life I
yeah.
was living. Like, I was...
Wolf of Wall Street status.
I was grimy. I was a
Yeah.
grimy dude, man.
Yeah.
Like I look back, oh, dude, it's crazy to think I did some of the stuff I did. But that aside, my biggest advice, because I see it with a lot of people that start to make money, stop buying the belts and the shoes and the Dior sweaters and put that aside. Nobody cares what you have on.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah. So true, dude. So
Nobody
true.
gives a shit. A car, maybe. My rule of thumb, and I actually learned this from Bradley. If you can't buy it 10 times, don't buy it. So I try to apply that principle to my life. Now, my vacation here this week has been a little bit extravagant because I enjoy, like I said, I'm a foodie and I've gone to a couple of nice restaurants and stuff, but I don't do it often is
Right.
my point. You know what I mean? I'm in a different part of the country I've never been before. you know, and
Work hard, play hard.
Yeah, I'm exploring, right? This is my vacation. This is my reward to myself.
Right.
It's like, you know, you just busted your ass for 4 months and pulled in a significant. I think in the past 4 months on V-Shred, I think I've already done $500,000. So this is that whole thing where it's like, okay, you can take, you know, a couple $1,000 and go have some fun.
Yeah.
You know, but don't like.
This is the moment it's been for.
Yeah, and I if I could redo it, I would give myself 10%, maybe 15% to spend every month of what I make.
Whatever you make.
The rest of it would just go towards self-improvement, books, personal trainer, like the gym, therapy, counseling, mentorship. What are some other good examples of stuff you could spend money on? Even just, you know, looking at larger investments, looking at I mean, stocks and stuff like that, I wouldn't do right away if you're starting out. It just doesn't make sense. That's kind of a long-term game. And usually when you're starting out in sales and you're making a lot of money, you want to build that rope. So, you know, this is even the foundational for sales, a pinnacle of where you could use your money, real estate. Nobody can make money quicker than us. And it takes money to do real estate. And real estate doesn't go down. So if you can start doing like houses, commercial, multifamily, that kind of stuff, I've learned a lot of that from Grant, Cardo, all those guys. Like if you can start putting a lot of the chunks of that away to start putting towards that kind of stuff, you know, that's kind of what I'm working towards now that I'm off my leave.
Yeah.
Because I'm going back to school. So I know my hours are going to be cut down with what I can do at 1cc. So that means I'm going to have some passive income to support the lifestyle I enjoy. Right? So invest your money. Don't hold it. I hate holding money. It doesn't do anything for you in your bank account. It does nothing.
That's right. It's
it
a
just
tool.
Sits there. Exactly. Tool. Exactly. So put it towards something, even if it's yourself. Even if you want to go get your teeth done. Yeah. Go get your teeth whitened.
That's what Bradley says all the time.
Yeah. Exactly. If you
these people out here making millions of dollars don't got their damn teeth fixed, bro. Go brush your teeth, get your teeth fixed.
Yeah.
That's funny, dude. Lastly, okay, before we get into 2 fun questions. Your mantra is you're not doing everything you could be, so do something about it.
Yeah.
Can you share a practical example of how you live by this advice and how your listeners, how our audience and listener can apply it to their own lives?
I'm a big, so that is one of my main ones, but one of my a mantra I pair with that every day is the 1% better mantra.
Yes, I love that.
If you do 1% better every single day, that's 365% better every year, which is 365,000% better every decade. And if you could be 365,000% better than the average person, chances are you're going to accomplish what you want to in life.
That's right.
So I pair that with that one, and every day I try and wake up and I'll think, what's one thing I did yesterday that I could have done better on today, or I could have done better on, and how can I be 1% better at that? Even if it's like, even in sales, like if it's like you forget to tell people the call's being recorded, it's like 1% better is just making sure to remember that thing. Because success is like this, right? And failure is like this. The more you fail, the worse it gets. But again, if you have the choice to look at it, pull it apart and be like, okay, where can I do 1% better? Even just a little bit. Like even if I change one word in a sentence and it works better. Like where can I, have pull? And some days you might do 25% better. Yeah. That doesn't mean, okay, now I have 25 days just to be average. No, don't do that. Don't get soaked into that belief either. But you're only, if you can at least commit to that 1% every single day, you're only going to get better every year. And that just means more commission, better life, and better overall outlook on things. So why not? And I mean, and the other thing too is we're all going to die, right? I know that's kind of cruel, but we're all on this earth and we're all going towards the same destination, right? That's
There's no doubt about it.
So why not be all in?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
One life, one chance.
Why not? Why not be all in? Like you only got another, like I know me, I'm probably pegging myself around 85. Like just with my 80, 85 is where I'm at. And that's just with hereditary stuff, family stuff. Right. And yeah, like, so looking at that, I only got another 60 years in me. No, less than that, 50. So why not be all in every day? Why not try and be 1% better? You're cheating yourself, if you don't. So,
Love that, man. Love that. Super inspirational. Thank you for sharing
yeah.
that. Favorite sales movie or TV show?
Without a doubt, Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay,
I'm a Wolf of Wall Street guy all the way. And I know it does not fit well with my past, but I love that movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Well, yeah, that's so cool. It's one of my favorite movies for sure. If you could have dinner with a sales thought leader that's dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Napoleon Hill. Because he interviewed a lot of successful people in his life. And the books are good that were done by, were they done by Dale Carnegie?
I want to say so.
But to sit down with somebody like that and just ask questions like you're with me right now.
Yeah.
That could be game changing for somebody. Yeah. So I think Napoleon Hill would be.
Sweet. It's been a freaking awesome podcast, dude.
Yeah, it's been really good.
Thank you so much for coming out. This is honestly so much value in here. I can't wait to listen to this call all over again. So thank you so much for flying down here, dude. I know we have a nice little our yearly summit tomorrow as well. So we're going to have some fun. We got a special guest speaker that's going to be there as well. So we're looking forward to that. So guys, listen, if you're serious about getting into this space, right, making an impact, just like Alex has been able to do, right? What you want to do is click the first link in the description below, and that'll allow you to schedule a call with me or somebody on the team to talk about one-on-one sales coaching plus placement, right? To potentially get on an offer through our sales agency, One Call Closers. And listen, guys, if that's not you right now, right? If you don't know anything about the space, you're not really sure what any of this stuff really is, or you're trying to figure it out, you need some free resources, then you want to click the second link in the description below, guys. That's going to get you on our school platform. That's SKOOL. We're the Closers Network on School, and the same folks, the same team leaders that have scaled our One Call Closers sales agency to almost $200 million in revenue just in the last 5 years are the same individuals and the same leaders that give you 5 days a week live coaching through the Closers Network, Monday through Friday, and some free courses and some free guidance, guys. So make sure you take advantage of that. Click the second link if you're looking to do that. That being said, again, Alex, dude, thank you so much, dude. It's been an honor. It's been a privilege. It's been an awesome time. I can't wait to do it again next time you're out here, bro. Let's do it.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. And if just to anybody out there that's ever just looking for help or need just direction or guidance or anything, at the Alex Labombard on Instagram, message me. I'm there to help. I'm always there.
By the way, if you don't know how to spell his name because you're like, oh, Alexander Labombard, I promise you guys, the guest is going to have his full name and his Instagram in the description below of this specific podcast. So you guys can literally copy and paste it and follow Alex and reach out to him if you want to.
Anytime. I'm always open. I love chatting. So
boom. Let's do it again, man. It's been awesome.
Thanks, Mike.
Guys, see you on the next one.